Source Convoy. I'm back again with another review. Today we're taking a look at JD-01, which is a undersized knockoff of Classics Optimus Prime from 2006. Apologies if I sound a little under the weather. I think I had like the flu or something, so my voice might sound a bit off. This is, after all, an undersized Voyager, down reduced to about legend scale. This is about 12 centimeters tall. It has no other name. It's just called JD-01, and the box is just a brown box that says JD-01 on it. So I'm not going to take a look at that. I'm going to get started just by taking a look at the figure itself. And I'm going to see if I can zoom in on that head. In usual fashion, I mean, this whole thing is painted in these nice like metallics, red and blues and silvers. The face has a metallic silver for the faceplate, though I will say that it does seem to be a little bit sloppy on the edges. The eyes are also painted a lighter metallic blue that doesn't stand out super well against the metallic blue of the helmet. It's not just like a on-camera thing. They don't show up very well. They also just don't show up very well in general. Like even to the naked eye, they don't really have that much contrast against the blue of the helmet. You can kind of see them here. All the sculpting is just borrowed straight from the original 2006 Classics Voyager, so there's not much to talk about there. Looks pretty good. The deco itself is mishmash between the actual deco of the 2006 Voyager, but that had like blue thighs with silver paint and yellow paint, and other decos of the toy that came out later on to create a more general Optimus look. Has the same exact everything. If you've handled the Classics Voyager, you know exactly what this is going to look like, just smaller. In terms of any changes they've made, most of those we'll go over in Articulation. There's almost no visual changes. Everything is pretty much the same. It looks pretty good for the most part, though. It does look pretty good for the most part. A lot of paint on this guy, a lot of it, and it's applied pretty well, and it seems pretty durable and scratch resistant for the most part, so that is kind of impressive for a $25 KO. Getting in on Articulation to start off, the head is on a swivel. Pretty much everything is identical to the original toy except for 2 points. You can also look down because there's a hinge, but you can't look up, but you can look down. The shoulders are on a 360 here. There's another joint in here which gets 90 out. There's a bicep swivel, 90 degrees at the elbow. New point of articulation, there is a wrist swivel added newly to this toy. And they can also rock a little bit up and down. I will say one thing, because this is a KO, tolerances are indubitably going to be very inconsistent. That's a key to KOs. And I've noticed a lot of people, myself included, I had loose biceps. They see this one's very tight. This shoulder's very tight. This shoulder's a bit looser. Those are the inconsistencies of KOs, I think. And I'll talk more about it in final thoughts later, but I've seen people reporting having loose biceps, elbows, and or shoulders, whereas some people, they're like, they're tight. So it's going to be inconsistent. The wrists, I've also seen a lot of people saying the wrists fall out. That happened to my copy as well. I'll give you guys a fix in my final thoughts. Or during the accessories segment, actually. He has a swivel up here at the upper torso, like the original toy, and he also has a swivel at the actual proper waist. There is no added ab crunch like the leader class upscale of this toy from a few years ago. I also wish they'd taken the retool. I guess these shoulder pads, forearm pads move around like usual. I do wish they added another hinge right here so they can fold up more, but that's fine. We also have universal hips, which gets you all the way out to 90 to the side, 90 forward, and as far back as you can go if we hit the back grill. The rear fender, the front fender, which is on his butt. You also have a thigh swivel, which is really tight. I think because the paint got in there. You have 90 degrees of bend at the knee and a bit more. And then the only other new point of articulation on this figure is a toe tilt. Not a proper ankle tilt, it's just a toe tilt. There's no way to get an ankle tilt on this toy, but they did give it a toe tilt at least, which does help you ground the toy for A stances. So that is nice. So yeah, now his feet can be grounded when he's in an A stance. And I appreciate that. Accessories, there's not much. He comes with this flat base thing. There's no other way he attaches to it, he just stands on it. And I mean, that looks fine. It's just a hunk of plastic, honestly. I don't really care for it. I don't really think it needed to be included. Nobody really cares. He comes with all the usual Classics Optimus accessories, like for example, the wind vane, which he has on his back right now, which you can detach. This transforms into a blaster. So you just open up the rear, pop that out, fold out the barrel, which usually should be gray or silver, but they didn't paint it on this one. You have this larger blaster. He can hold it. There you go. He also has his classic smokestack gun, which transforms into his smokestacks for alternate mode, and he can hold that. There you go. The other two accessories are from the Magna Convoy version of the mold. This is the Matrix Sword, and this is an accessory that comes with Magna Convoy, which was from Titan's Return Mind Wipe. It's bootleg down to this size. It's very floppy, so the claw part doesn't stay out, which kind of sucks. I never got around to tightening it, and I don't particularly care. But you can remove these. You can plop in his sword just fine, and remove the smokestack gun, which is pretty tight in his hands, and put in this blaster / claw thing. And there you go. There you have it. I need to get into one of the issues with his accessories, which is the swappable hands. My copy, the hands work now, but as you can see, when I want to remove something from his hands, can you see I'm holding it like this? It's because these don't have a lot of resistance. They come out really easily. So when you put in things inside the hands, the leverage can cause them to come out. The peg is small, but they're made of a soft material, so there's no worry about breakage. But when I first got the toy, the hands were so loose, they basically fell out at any instance of weapon manipulation. I used a little bit of floor polish to I put a drop in the hand peg and it tightened it up just fine. But again, you know, KO, it's a KO issue. And the funny part is he has alternate hands, which is supposed to be a pair of alternate open hands copied from the New Age sculpt, but they gave me 2 copies of the open left hand, so I can only show you this. Theoretically, if your copy comes with hands, he can do swappable open hands, which I think, you know, is a nice touch. It's a nice touch. They needed to put in swappable hands anyways, because there's no other way to do a wrist swivel on this toy. So I think it's a nice touch. These are included. It's a shame that my copy got the usual, you know, the KO moment, I guess. Again, KOs will be inconsistent. That's kind of a thing with this release. For a lot of people, this has kind of become like the de facto stylized or like Legends-esque prime for like a non-toon accurate collection, more of a classics Legend size collection like Iron Factory. So I figured I'd put it next to some Iron Factory bots for a sense of, you know, not just for size, but for a sense of, I guess, like thematicness. I don't really have like the older style Iron Factory guys. I just have the modern stuff. But I think it actually works pretty well. I think if you have an Iron Factory collection and Ultimate Commander is like too dated or, I guess, too hard to find, track down, too expensive, this could be a nice inexpensive option for a slightly stylized Legends class, G1-esque Chug Optimus. Even though the mold itself is like 16 years old, with the addition of ankle tilts and wrist swivels, it only feels like 4 to 5 years old in terms of Legend scale. So I think stylistically, aesthetically, and in terms of like articulation and sculpt, since it's been downsized from a Voyager class toy with all those features, it fits in pretty well here, and it's not exactly too big or too small for, I think, an IF collection. For actual size comparisons, let me move these guys out of the way, and I can get you guys some crucial size comparisons. Here he is next to a deluxe. So as you can see, he's much on the shorter end of deluxe class size. I think he's about 12 to 13 centimeters, maybe 13 centimeters. Core class figure, Legends class figure. Sorry guys, as I said, I'm a bit under the weather, so I'm a bit sloppy right now. But I think the size works pretty well. It's a conventional Legends class Optimus toy size. It's around the same size as like New Age Optimus, Magic Square Optimus, somewhere in between. The Lucky Cat Optimus is about this big, so it's a conventional third-party Legends class size toy in bot mode. I'm gonna get it transformed in alternate mode, and we'll take an alternate mode, and after that, final thoughts. Quick size comparison in alternate mode. Here we have him with a core, a bit bigger than a core, which is usual third-party Legend sizing. And here's next to a Legion. He can go on his included base, and I guess that looks nice. I still think this is kind of a waste, but whatever. And getting into alternate mode, it looks pretty good. It's the Classics Optimus alternate mode. The transformation is, the same as always. If you've handled Classics Optimus before, you know what I'm talking about. It's very simple, very fun, enjoyable. Looks pretty good from all angles. Again, the glorious paintwork in the robot mode comes through here again. The blue looks great. The metallic red looks great. There is some mismatch, but for the most part, it does look pretty good. The grille looks fantastic. The front bumper looks fantastic. Headlights are painted blue. There's no, I think it should be yellow right there. There's silver. But it does look pretty good. Up here, these headlights are painted, so it looks pretty cool. There are two issues I have. One issue is there's a gap right here under the wind vane, which is, I think, due to a sculpting, molding boo-boo on the inside right there next to his head, which is, I think, the two lines next to his neck. And then here on the gun, it only tabs in robustly on this side. It does not really tab in. It's just sitting there. And also, like, the distance between these two holes on his arms and these two pegs on the blaster smokestack are not the same. So it is kind of like a bending. It's a very flexible, bendy plastic. And I just thought that I would point out, if you flick that, it's gonna fall off pretty easily. But when you handle it and shake it around and all that, it's fine. Just saying. Transformation is again simple. It looks good. The paint carries over. For the most part, I'm satisfied. It rolls pretty well. Yeah. It's Classics Optimus. And the rims are painted, they look nice. All the wheels are pinned, etc. Roll well. I think that's it for final thoughts, honestly. Positives, the paint is really good for a KO. For the most part, the tolerances are pretty good, especially the lower body. The transformation tolerances are really good. There's nothing that feels like it's fighting you when you transform, which is often common with KOs. The accessory selection is pretty smart to include the extra Magna Convoy accessories, which I thought was a pretty good touch. One thing I will say is, again, it is, however, a KO, so tolerances will vary. There's a lot of inconsistency among KOs. I know some people who have like a fantastic figure, and then some people had a lot of issues. If you just look at the TFW thread, it'll be pretty common. Myself, I had a loose elbow, loose biceps. I had to tighten the hand ports, and I have 2 copies of the same open hand. So I kind of did not get a great copy from the KO perspective, or from the quality control perspective. If you are willing to tighten joints, then took me about 5 minutes to fix his elbow and his biceps. It was not that hard. So it's not a huge issue, but it is usually something to keep in mind when purchasing a KO. For the most part, though, it carries a sculpt pretty well. The sculpt looks pretty sharp. It doesn't look fuzzy or like malformed in places, but it's not perfect. I think for $25, it's not expensive, but it's also not affordable for what it is, because they're not paying for any engineering or R&D. It's the bootleg. So I think it should have been maybe like 15 to 20. The stupid plastic display base was like a waste of money and just boosting up the cost, to be honest. But yeah, I definitely have some reservations about the overall quality. If it was like a $30 to $40 figure, I would probably not recommend it. But at $25 on Show Z, where I picked mine up, I'll put a link in the description below. I think if you're really into the concept of a small classics Optimus, or you want like a stylized-ish G1 Optimus, it's kind of a no-brainer. It's the best thing on the market right now. And I do think it is pretty decent for $25. It's on par, I think, quality-wise, maybe like a little bit worse than Hasbro Deluxe, but better in some ways. At least I have a bad QC run experience, I think, with mainline, but it's not that bad QC-wise. It's fine. Just have like joint tightener fluid is all I'm going to say if you really want to pick one up. You may not need it, but you probably will for the hands. The hands have a tendency to fall out if you haven't tightened them, when you switch weapons and stuff. So just keep that in mind. But again, one drop in the port where the hands go in and you no longer have to worry about it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Recommend for me, if you're willing to do the usual TLC, which KOs require. If you're not exactly enthused by that idea, then you can probably skip it. But if you like the concept, which I like, I think I would welcome more downsized Voyagers, etc. with added articulation. I would welcome that. So if you're into that idea, yeah, you could probably pick it up. I hope for some repaints, maybe, shattered glass. Yeah, as an accessory, so Magna Convoy would be really cool, actually. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in again. As always, I appreciate the support. So is Convoy. Peace out.